This ranch received the Texas Conservation Ranch of the Year in 2017.
Oh, wow.
And so we're real proud of that. That was just recognizing the range conservation practices, all of which goes to improve water quality and improve the range environment. It's amazing how when you clear some of the cedar and mesquite out, you can begin to have improved water quality. Springs that have been dormant for a long time will start flowing again. See how it's just smooth as glass?
Yes.
And that's the way the river looks a lot of times. And we get a south wind a lot too, and that makes it look like the river's flowing that way, but it's actually flowing that way.
Oh, wow. This is stunning.
And if you look back across the river there, that's Dale River Ranch, and they put people up every weekend. It'll sleep 8 to 10. And then you can see...
Oh, I see something straight ahead.
Right up there on the hill, that's where we're going. That's where our house is. Right up there. It's about 2 miles.
Oh, okay. Is that right straight from us?
Straight through here. Yeah, it's hard to see with the lighting, but that's where we're going to wind up.
That'd be beautiful. Yeah,
but I mean, look at the reflection off this river and how still it is. It's just amazing. So this is when you need to be on a paddleboard.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so cool.
It's Cochineal. It's Cochineal, and the Native Americans used to use that for war paint. And
really? Wow.
Painting their faces. Okay. And then.
Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. And so they use that as war paint.
Well, yeah, and it's a very you can see it's a beautiful dye.
It is, yeah.
So, now I read somewhere that, like I said, the British red, it's not really red, it's purple. Maybe there's some other varieties, but apparently that was the kind of dye that was used for their uniforms back in the 1700s.
What a beautiful color.
Yeah, isn't that?
That's very good. Thank you. That's amazing.
Well, I know y'all probably aren't into grasses and all that, but this paddock hadn't been grazed, so you can see how good that grass looks. This is side oats grama. That's the Texas state grass. So Texas they have a lot of state things. I mean, you have your state reptile, your state mammal, your state grass, state tree, but this is the Texas state grass. It's a really good. Whenever you see a lot of side oats, you know that the pastures are being cared for properly and using good grazing practices.
Very cool.
We'll go over here and show you this rock cross that we built, I guess, about 12 years ago. It's a memorial to my son that he died when he was 6. He was on his bicycle and got hit by a car. And his first name was Holt, which is my great-great-grandfather's last name was Holt. We always called this the River Ranch until well, I don't know, sometime in the last 20 years we started calling it Holt River Ranch in memory of my son. So.
Oh, that's a beautiful cross. Wow.
You can look up the river here and so when the canoers come around the bend, if they're on that side, they can see the cross up on the hill.
Oh my goodness.
And that's my nearest neighbor right up there.
Is it the white right there?
Right, right up there.
I love that. That's my nearest neighbor.
Man, my nearest neighbor. And then this is the house where we're going to. This is our house there.
This cross is amazing.
So we have it where it lights up at night, but we have bald eagles that come down here. They don't nest, but you'll see them from about October to March, and there's not many. There's, I think, 2, so most I've seen at one time. But I love the mornings. That's my favorite part of the day, and that's my power time. If I'm trying to write something that requires any creativity, I have to do it in that first hour or two of the day before other people wake up. and after that, I just have to do things that are, I guess you'd say, not as creative, just more work. But it's been an extremely difficult race, 10 months, and it's just been an experience. 95% of it has been wonderful. I've met wonderful people all over the district, friends that'll be lifetime friends, and I've learned a lot about the district, and I've enjoyed that. But the negative part, the negative campaigning, that has not been fun, and it's been brutal, quite frankly. But I'm glad that part's over with.
Hi guys, I'm with Dr. Glenn Rogers, first elected person from Palo Pinto County in 39 years, acting as state representative in Austin, Texas. This is a lovely piece of property. Tell me about this river behind us.
The Brazos River, this is the Post Oak Bend of the Brazos River, and my family has been here since 1906. If you read the book Goodbye to a River, it describes the Post Oak Bend and this stretch of the river, which I think it's the upper middle Brazos. I think it's the most beautiful part of the Brazos from here to Granbury.
So about the election, what was the first thought that you had when you won, and your family?
The first thought I had was just joy for all the people that have helped me. It's unbelievable how much time and effort has been put in this truly grassroots campaign. We managed to take a few people that had no political experience working together in a little office in Mineral Wells and beat one of the biggest political machines in Texas. And it was done just from citizens coming together and supporting me. I can't believe the number of hours my family put in, the number of hours that different people all across the district put in. People made phone calls. They helped stuff envelopes. They sat at the polls. It was about 110 degrees on voting day, and we had some people that were nearing 80 years old that were standing out there supporting me, and it was just phenomenal. So every time I see one of those people or think about that, it just makes me want to work that much harder for this district, just because of the groundswell of support that we had. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so throughout the year of the campaign, what was the challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome those challenges, and some great memories as well?
I mean, it's mostly great memories because I got to meet some of the best people I've ever met, just salty earth people all over the district, and many that will be friends for life. And that's really what this is all about. I ran to be a representative for this district, to serve the people of this district, had no other particular political agenda other than I'm concerned about rural Texas, and I'm concerned about the future of our district. And so it's mostly positive. On the negative side, it was a very hard-fought campaign, a lot of negativity that was hard to take. I think harder for my family probably than it was for me. I was able to learn to distance myself from it. My campaign team actually just took me off Facebook for the last 2 weeks, so I didn't see a lot of the things that were said. But unfortunately, that seems to be politics today. It's unfortunate that it has to be that way. But you have to get past that and look at the fact that 95% of this campaign was very positive. And it's been quite a ride. I've never done anything quite like this. For a non-contact sport, it's pretty rough. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And you have a great team behind you.
I have a great team behind me. Let me just say a little bit about who my team is. Jeff Hinkson is my campaign manager, and we first started talking about this over a year ago, and I asked Jeff if he might help me for a few days, and he agreed to do that, and that was almost a year ago, and he's put in a lot of hours since then. I'm sure he had no idea what he was getting into. And Kaylor Banks is our media manager. Kaylor's mom used to work for me when at the sale barn in Mineral Wells when she was in high school, and I was a veterinarian, and so I knew his family and had a lot of respect for them. Judson Meeks, who is working on his PhD, was interested in being involved in the campaign, and Judson started out just volunteering, and we after a while we felt guilty because he was putting in way too much time for just a volunteer. And I knew Judson's grandfather very well. He used to help my dad out at our ranch west of Grayford. Back in the 60s is when I first knew his granddad. Always had a lot of admiration for him. So here we have three. Our team is me and three people who have deep roots in Palo Pinto County, as I do. So it was fun.
And your family, you have family kind of all over. What were their thoughts when you won? Are they?
Well, I'll give you one example. My daughter, who will be a junior at Mineral Wells High School this year, she's a pole vaulter, and I missed a few meets in the spring, which I try not to ever miss anything that she does, and I felt bad about it. And I said, Leah, I'm so sorry that I missed your meet. And she said, Daddy, that's all right. It's for Texas.
It's for I like
it's
that.
It's
a great statement.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what are your three priorities that you'll bring?
Well, from the start of our campaign, we emphasized public education, healthcare, and economic development or job growth. And since the COVID pandemic, those three are even more critical. If you look at a map of the United States and you look at where the strength of the Republican Party is and where Donald Trump received most of his support, it is in rural Texas and rural America. And in order to keep what I feel like is the backbone of our country strong, we have to do everything we can to support our rural communities. And the backbone of our rural communities are our churches and our schools. In this legislative district, there's some school districts that are very small, and you can imagine what it would do to a community to lose their school or not have a thriving school. I know there's a lot of concern about public education from many fronts. I personally am opposed to vouchers because I think it would be devastating to particularly our rural schools. I have no problem with alternative sources of education such as private Christian schools, homeschooling in the right with the right people involved. Those are very effective, but we can't take away from our public schools. The Texas Constitution requires that we provide public education for our students, and over 90% of our students in Texas are educated in public schools. So we need to get behind our teachers now more than ever. These teachers are resilient. They're doing a fantastic job. I see criticism on Facebook that just makes me crazy. They say, well, we shouldn't, some even gone as far as say, well, we shouldn't be paying our teachers as much because they're not in the classroom. They're doing it remotely. Nothing's farther from the truth. If anything, they're working harder than they did before COVID. They have to prepare for teaching in the classroom and online at the same time, and that's a very difficult thing. We need to get behind our public schools, get behind our teachers, do everything we can to support them. In terms of rural health care, Texas leads the nation in rural hospital closures, and we have a few small rural hospitals in this district that are in danger of not staying open if we don't support them. So critical that we support our hospitals. We're fortunate here in Palo Pinto County to have a strong hospital. And I've met with every CEO of hospitals throughout the district, and I just have great admiration for them. I've met with a lot of physicians, a lot of healthcare workers, and certainly now more than ever with COVID, we see how important healthcare is to our rural communities. And then finally, on economic development, and Mineral Wells is just a shining example of what can happen when people begin to work together and you have visionaries like Randy Nix. When I first met Randy Nix, Randy said, Mineral Wells will be more of a destination city than Fredericksburg in 5 years, and I believe him. I mean, it's hard not to believe Randy Nix when he tells you something. And so I'm just so happy that I can be part of that. I want to do everything I can to support Mineral Wells, to support Palo Pinto County, not to the exclusion of others in the district. But every rural community in this district has something that they can build on and grow on. Rural communities are either growing or they're dying, and they have to grow.
Yes.
And Mineral Wells is their big deal is tourism, and I think we have so much opportunity with the rebirth of the Baker and the Crazy Hotel and the new state park and Possum Kingdom Lake, the growth that's going there. I mean, we just have so much opportunity to grow here. And I think every community in this district has something that they can build on. And I'm excited about being part of that. Historically, my great-great-grandfather started buying land in Palo Pinto County in the 1890s.
Wow.
And he built a hotel in Mineral Wells in 1906 called the Colonial, which later became the Dameron. So he was part of the early heyday of Palo Pinto County when there was so much activity going on. And I'm just thrilled that over 100 years later that I'm able to play just a small part in that rebirth by serving as state representative.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. So what is a core value that you want people to know about you?
The core value that I want people to know is that I believe strongly in the resilience of people. I believe that people are basically good. I want to know as many people as I can in this county, and I want to work for them. The core value, I think, is, there's several of them. Hard work is something I've never been afraid of. As a rural veterinarian, I learned how to work 24/7, working for the public at all hours of the day. At night, emergency calls and that kind of thing. So I'm not unaccustomed to hard work. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take listening. One core value I have is the ability to listen. It's not about me going down to Austin and doing what I want to do. It's about going down to Austin after I've listened to as many citizens as possible throughout the district and find out what are the needs, what are the issues. I don't have the answers to most of those yet, and by myself I can't do that. But I'm very good at listening and working as a team with other like-minded individuals. And if you look at the rural representation in Austin, we have fewer representatives west of the I-35 corridor than we have in Metro Houston. Right now, there are about 19 state legislators. So it's extremely important that all of us, like Drew Darby and San Angelo and Stan Lambert and Abilene and all the other surrounding districts, that we work together to represent rural Texas. Redistricting is coming up. It's a redistricting session. It's going to be extremely important that we work together to preserve what we can for rural Texas and for this district, for Palo Pinto County. So I would encourage the viewers to be sure and fill out the census. The census is what determines our representation in Austin, and we need everyone to fill out that census. You can do it online, you can do it by mail, or you can do it by phone. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't do that. It's
Absolutely.
easy. It's easy to do. So.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for letting us come out to your beautiful ranch and see this beautiful view. I appreciate
Well,
your
it's
time.
my pleasure. I always enjoy showing the ranch. We're very proud of it. It's part of who we are, and we love to share it with other people, and I'm glad you could be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.